This is my underneath hand. So I'll put it underneath. Then you're going to start, you insert your needle about a stitch widths away from where it came up. Feel underneath as it just comes through the fabric and the back side, and then you tilt it over, trap it with the thumb, and let it come up. You have the needle come up just enough, just a stitch width amount, and then you want to tilt it all the way back perpendicular again. This is why you need, for the quilt not to be drum tight. Put it through the fabric till you feel it on the back side. Trap it with the thumb as it comes up again, and you just keep doing that. I tend to do anywhere from 3 to 5 stitches on a needle at a time. It just depends on how tight the fabric is, how tight a curve I'm doing, how it's going. Sometimes a little section will not go very well. Sometimes I think the batting is kind of irregular and it makes it fussy sometimes, fussier sometimes. So just keep doing this. The key to doing circles and curves, by the way, is to tilt the needle as you lay the needle back. You want to lay it back parallel to your, in line with the curve. So here the curve's coming around this way. Put my needle in here, and I don't direct it towards the old stitch. I direct it back this way toward, so that it's sort of forming a complete line with the little piece of the arc that I'm doing right there. Hopefully that makes sense. Or, if you don't want to think about it like that, you can think about just aiming your stitches for the line you're sewing. Just constantly do that. The stitches, individual stitches aren't going to be curves, because 2 points don't make a curve, they make a line. But it's sort of like a fence, you can make a curved fence out of straight pieces if you make them small and angle them around like this. So you just keep going. The important part is a sort of rocking motion, so that you get the needle through to the back side. Otherwise you won't actually be making stitches on the back. The other thing is, you'll notice that I'm turning this a lot, and that is because in general I find it easier to quilt toward me and maybe to the left somewhat. So if I were quilting straight lines, I'd probably be doing it straight towards me. But with these curves, I can kind of do around and to the left. I never quilt to the right. So it's just easier for me. If you have quilts in a big frame, then you're going to have a harder time. Look, I've already bent this needle. Can you see that? Let's see. So they get harder to use once you bend them, and the more you bend them, the worse it gets. And once it's bent some, like this one, it will continue to bend and get worse. But because I bend them so much, I'm getting used to using them bent. I will continue to use this one until it becomes too difficult for me to deal with. Otherwise, I would be going through way, way more needles. You're supposed to change your needle for hand quilting about every 4 or 5 hours, which that's about the same as what they recommend for machine needles, I think. I, on average, change mine a lot more often than that because I bend a lot. In fact, I even break them sometimes. Kind of hard on them. Even these, which like I said, are a little bit heavier weight than some I had tried before. I've forgotten what other brand I had before, but keep going around. On the back side, my left hand is doing more work than you might think. As I put the needle through the fabric perpendicularly like this, I'm feeling that it's coming through, and then I move my finger back. So that when I'm doing this, I'm sort of pushing up on the needle from the back side, back here. My thumb is actually back here now. Pushing up on the needle while my thumb on the front is pushing down in front of it to make the needle come up with a shorter stitch than it might otherwise. So the left hand is sort of rocking back and forth underneath, doing its two jobs of, catching, feeling when the needle's through and catching it before it goes really far, otherwise you would have a giant stitch, and helping to push it back up on the front side. So the bent needle makes it harder to aim, to hit the spot you're aiming for as you're sewing. You'll see my stitches aren't all even. But even the spots I think look really bad once I go back, not really bad, I take those out. It's really easy to take out hand stitching. It's harder redoing it, of course, but it's really easy to take out, which is nice. But even parts I think don't look so great, usually I can't even really find them later. I think, well, it doesn't look so bad. So